Hi everybody, welcome back to my podcast. This is Life from M's perspective. I just want to encourage those people who haven't listened to my previous podcast, if you could please go and check them out, because I've covered different type of topics. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy what I'm about to bring to you today. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. Today I've also brought another topic that's related to politics, guys. If you follow my previous podcast, it was about M23 and the DRC conflict that's currently taking place in DRC Congo. So this is just another part of it, and this is also triggered from things that I've continuously to see on social media. I don't know how to start with this one, because this one is actually sad. It's not just sad in the way that I haven't already advocated and I already haven't told people to be careful with the information that they're reading, and before they jump to conclusion on whose side to pick, to just be reminded that out of all this, it's innocent people who are suffering. It's people's life that's being cut short. It's women getting raped. It's people being denied medical treatments. There's a lot of things that are happening in DRC Congo right now that no human being deserves to be having this occur to them. So while I'm going to be speaking as Abanyamulenge, I also just want to talk as a person in general, as a Congolese person in general, who does not condemn people who've taken the whole conflict out of context. As Abanyamulenge, I do understand that we've been persecuted a lot because of who we are, because of our appearance, because of the language we speak, or for many other reasons. We have been persecuted because of who we are for decades, and I'm not going to sit here and condemn that what happened to us and what continues to happen to us to an extent. It should go ahead, or it's something that needs to be celebrated, because it's not because people are losing their lives, and no one's human should be cut short merely because of their nationality, or just because of their tribe, or because of their ethnicity, because no one, as I've mentioned before, no one chooses what ethnicity, what nationality, or to whom is supposed to be a parent, to whom their parents is. No one chooses that. No one decides that. This is something that God gives us. This is something that God plants us in those families, plants us in those nationalities, so we don't get to say, we don't choose. So no one's life should be cut short just based on there's something that they did not have a hand in, a contribution in deciding. Because if I was to know that as Abanyamulenge I'll be getting persecuted and I'll be getting killed, or I'll be not liked and I'll be hated to the level that I'm hated, then I don't think I would have wanted to come in that tribe or to be part of that nationality. Maybe I would have asked God to actually grant me like another chance to choose where I go, you know. So nobody chooses. This is just a simple example. Nobody chooses to what nationality they should be born in. So that's why I do not condemn any killing of innocent individuals based on their ethnicity, based on who they are. So my message today is for the fact that for whatever is happening in DRC Congo right now, this is not a conflict about tribes. This is something I feel like has been taken completely out of context for some people, and they've made this about their tribe. I get you have wounds. I get that you've suffered. I get that you're hurting, and maybe you're looking at this in a different perspective than I am looking at it right now, because this is why this podcast is based on Mariki's point of view, and it's based on Mariki's perspective. But in this moment, the way everybody's been portraying this conflict, it's really sad. It's really saddening, especially as a Congolese person who is saying that innocent lives are being lost, people are being killed, and yet everybody is sitting here making this a personal conflict. Guys, this conflict is not about you, it's not about me, it's about the DRC government and the M23 rebels. Let me just repeat it. This conflict, it's not about me, you, your parents, or anyone else, but it's about the DRC administration and the M23 rebels. This is literally a conflict about them. These are the people who are fighting conflict. And no offense to everybody who thinks they know the purpose of the conflict, or they think they know the agenda of that conflict. You do not. I hate to break it up to you, but you don't know the agenda of the conflict that's currently taking place, because the only people who know the agenda of that conflict are the people who are fighting that conflict. They're the only people who know the agenda of that conflict. So for everybody to sit here, instead of advocating for the lives that are being lost, instead of advocating for the peace and unity in Congo, instead of advocating for liberation in Congo, so that finally Congo can lead in a way that it's gonna benefit them without having to rely on the Western powers, without having to rely on or having interruption from the Rwandan government, which is the one that's currently being blamed for being involved in this conflict that's currently going on. So instead of everybody advocating for those things and advocating for the fact that Congo, it becomes stable enough to lead its state, to lead its nation in ways that it's never led it before, because let's admit it, Congo is corrupted, yo. The government is corrupted. I'm just gonna say it. Like, that's how I see it. Again, this is my point of view, people. Congo is corrupted in general. I'm not going to sit here and defend that Congo is good, its leadership is good, because they really haven't done that much for their civilians or for their citizens, for people to actually be applauding them. In other words, they haven't really done that much. I don't really understand, although the conflict has targeted Rwanda in this perspective, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I can vouch that Rwanda is not involved in this conflict, I'm not going to sit here and vouch for nobody. But the problem that this conflict, or what the whole propaganda that's happening, it's not saying, it's the fact that Rwanda is not the only country in that country. DRC Congo has so many countries in there, and I'm not gonna say that these people really care about Congo. They don't. They really don't. They're just out there to benefit themselves. They're out there to go after the minerals and the richness that Congo has in it. They're there to take from Congo. They're not there to progress Congo. They're not there to fight Congo's battles, because if the leadership team or the leadership administration or the government of Congo was good and was capable, it would be able to fight for itself. So instead of people advocating for peace in Congo, because one thing everybody needs to understand, Congo has a lot of tribes. Okay, there's a lot of tribes in Congo, a lot of ethnicity groups in Congo. So if Congo is liberated, and if Congo secures, or let me say ends up having a good leadership team and a good government, every single tribe in that country will be protected. Whether even you as Abanyamulenge, you will be protected in Congo once Congo's leadership team is good, or the government is good, and the laws, and they follow all the protocol of international human rights. So everyone's human rights will be protected. So instead of just minimizing the conflict and just thinking about the fact that this is about me, this is about my tribe, this is about my people, how about you actually expand your thinking and just be like, I want Congo to actually prosper. I want Congo to actually become good. I want Congo to actually be at a space or at a place where it can be able to lead in ways that it recognizes every single tribe that's part of that country. Because Congo is massive, people. Congo is really big. Congo is huge. Congo is insane. I guess they have a reason why they call it Central Africa. So it's just like, it's really sad for me when I see people out here, and I'm not gonna go on the side, it's especially Abanyamulenge who are here out and about making this particular conflict about Mulenge. This is not about Mulenge. This is literally about liberate Congo. This is how I'm gonna call it in my personal point of view. This is a conflict that's about liberating Congo. But at the end of the day, people are losing their life, okay? And I hate to say this, but the Western ideologies and the Rwandese ideologies have penetrated in so many people's mindsets and so many people's head that they can't see what's wrong and right, and how this is actually affecting Congo in general and not just individuals. Okay, it's not just affecting individuals, people, it's actually affecting the whole country in general. We can't sit here and claim to be Congolese and yet we don't stand in solidarity, or we don't stand in unity with the rest of the country that's currently suffering from the Westerns, from the M23, or from all the other rebel groups from all different countries that are actually currently planted in Congo in the name of saying that they're here to help Congo. They're here to fight Congo's battles on their behalf against the rebels. Those countries are not there for us. Those countries are not there for Congo. Those countries are there for their own benefits. They're not there for the interest of Congo, they're there for their own interest. So instead of standing in solidarity as a Congolese, it doesn't matter what tribe you're part of in Congo, as long as you're considered a Congolese person, you should make it your job to actually stand in solidarity against all other countries, all other nations, and just be united and be unified in fighting and advocating for the rights and for the peace of Congo, and also advocating for the human rights of those people who have been deprived of human rights merely based on who they are, merely based on their nationality, ethnicity group. These are the things that we need to dig deeper on, but also understanding that there's right time for everything. And at this stage, I don't even know why we're developing a trend as Abanyamulenge that goes contradictory to what we should be as Abanyamulenge. Because nimba ndi umunyamulenge, if ndi umunyamulenge, who believes you can do Mukongomani, who believes you call I'm a Congolese person, then I shouldn't be sitting here and posting and not seeing how bad the conflict is affecting innocent lives. I shouldn't be sitting here not seeing how terribly people are being impacted by what's currently going on in Congo, and instead I just sit here and make this about myself. It's not about me. And I'm sorry to break it to you too, it's not about you who's busy posting, who's busy making stitches, going off what other people and all that. Yes, hashtags do help, hashtags do put pressure on governments and human rights internationals and all that kind of stuff. They do assist, they do bring awareness, they actually do. and it's important that you continue to do that, but please do it in a way that's not portraying so much hate and anger towards the other people. It's not about, that's why I'm telling you, this is not a conflict between Abanyamulenge and Mubembe, or Abanyamulenge and Mufurero. It's not a conflict about those people. It's a conflict about Congo, which is a country, which is your home country to all of you. It's about you sitting together and actually thinking, how can we actually better advocate for a country so that it can receive and it can get what it deserves from these international countries or from its own administration. How can we actually assist and how can we help in actually bringing awareness so that our people are protected? Because our people are your people. My people are your people. If your people are protected, that means my people are also going to be protected if we all work together in unity, in unification, to actually try and fight this conflict that's happening without pointing fingers at each other, without pointing fingers at Congolese brothers and sisters, but point fingers where they should be pointed. Okay, and also ask yourself a question: why are all these countries in Congo? Why? For what reason? Doesn't Congo have borders? Like, are they not protected? This is just a stupid question that I decided to put in, but in reality that's actually true. So why do we have so many rebel groups in Congo? Why do we have so many countries in Congo? Why do we have people deploying, different countries deploying their troops into Congo to fight our battles? Why do we have all these people coming through to fight? You need to sit down and analyze the situation before you actually just get too emotional and forget the realistic part about the conflict that's currently going on. And I'm just gonna sit here and say no human life should be cut short, and no individual should not be allowed to feel safe in their own home country. I'm not going to sit here and condemn that, because it's not right, it's not correct. Okay, and to my people, Abanyamulenge, please understand that this conflict this time, it's not about us. This conflict this time, it's not about Abanyamulenge. This conflict this time, it's about Congo in general, and whatever it's happening, it's not directly at us. So please direct your energy and your advocacy where it belongs and where it's supposed to go. Because I'm gonna say, yes, we've been persecuted for a long time, as I've said before, and this advocacy maybe was needed back then, and maybe it will be needed again, God forbid, but it will be needed again after all this. But in the meantime, right now, with the current M23 rebel troops and versus the DRC Congo administration or government, this conflict is not about saving Mulenge. This conflict is about standing in solidarity as Congolese individuals and fighting against what's happening in DRC Congo, and fighting together to actually advocate for the human rights of individuals and for also liberation of our country, Congo. That's just all I'm going to say for today. Let's not fall into a trap of reading and having a misconception of information that's given to us, or that information that's fed to us, and actually let's take time to analyze and think about the information you're reading. Is the information you're reading true? Is the information you're reading propaganda? What is the information you're reading? is this information correct? Should I even be reading this information? Should I be even engaging in this type of information, or should I be even engaging in this type of content? That's the thing that we need to actually educate ourselves on as Congolese, and to actually understand how understanding and analyzing the content, and also analyzing the news that we see out there, can actually be a fuel to hatred amongst each other. It can also fuel a lot of conflicts as well amongst our own country, without realizing which these people will actually instigate those fights through these type of things, through these platforms, through social media, through news articles, through like a lot of content that you guys will not be aware of, because you need to read and understand that not everything that we see is true, and not everything that we see is accurate, and we need to actually question the sources that bring in the information to us. To what extent can we believe that? Because one thing we need to understand is the fact that these Western societies and countries will portray only the things that will benefit them, the things that will fuel your anger to a point where you're not acting to benefit yourself, but your reaction is a reaction that's just going to benefit their cause. Because when they're publishing these sources and when they're publishing these articles, what are they benefiting out of it? How are they communicating with you? How are you taking it? How are you reacting to it? That will speak a lot, and this will actually benefit the Western community, and this will actually benefit the enemies more than it will actually benefit you as a person who's actually going through the conflict, and who's actually suffering and losing through all this conflict and the times that you're currently in. So before we go ahead and react at certain information and react, I think, don't just sit down and be like, oh, this source just brought me like, oh, there's only bad happening in Congo, or there's only bad happening here and here, or and then question yourself, is it just the bad that's happening? Do more research, change your wording around, and then compare the two information, and then pick sides after that. But don't just look at one source and then conclude there, because trust me, one source is never going to be enough to give you the information and the accurate and credible information that you're looking for when it comes to conflicts that are occurring in DRC. And let's face it, how many times has DRC been in so many civil wars, in so many conflicts? It has, but it hasn't attracted so much attention like it has today. And you might be wondering why. Obviously the missionaries had been chased away, and this really is showing that people might actually get affected, because now Congo is realizing that they're actually richer than they thought, and maybe they need to fight for that right. So this is actually going to fuel wrong information, so that people can be misled to actually fight for the cause that they shouldn't be fighting for. So that's why it's important that you just don't jump and allow the Western communities to just give you the bad side, and also try to dig deeper and see, has anything positive come out of this? Yes, I'm not saying that life is still going to be lost, people are going to die, but also I'm not defending that the livelihood that are being lost, it's good, but at the end of the day, we also need to look at the fact that there have been wars, there have been world wars, there have been the Revolutionary War, there have been so many things that has occurred that's actually taken people's life, but at the end of the day, it also kind of ended up benefiting them in a long run. So the same with Congo. Yes, people's lives should not be lost, but we also need to dig deeper and deeper. Like, yes, we've lost people, and this is not cool, this is heartbreaking, this is hurtful, and it's terrible to even have a look at the fact that this is happening to my people. But also, why am I only being shown the bad things? Why am I not showing something that can positively come out of this conflict? Is there anything positive we're seeking to see out of this conflict? Why is this conflict even occurring to begin with? Like, before you actually go on to conclude that one source is correct for you, question it, look up more information, and if not necessary, follow. There's like broadcasts, there's like podcasts around different topics and regarding certain things that are currently happening. There's like radios that are talking about those things. There's like experts who are invited on some channels who are bringing more insight to what's going on. Look at them, watch them, educate yourself, and then after that you will know where you stand, and you will know whether where you stand is where you should be standing or whether it's not where you should be standing. Everyone is surely entitled to their opinion, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. Everybody is entitled, but this is my opinion and this is my point of view. So educate yourself in understanding that not only don't just fall for the trap of the Western, because we usually tend to see articles, news from the Western communities, but we don't actually, as Africans, also go deep down to dig information. Especially this is for the people who are living in Western communities. We don't take initiative to actually dig deeper and also follow the sources of Africa and see what they're also talking about it. You know, what's their point of view? What's the African point of view? What's the country's point of view on what's going on in their country, instead of just going and reading just the sources that's been orchestrated or that's been written by the Western communities who are not even on the ground to be giving us those information that's being portrayed. And we also need to analyze the importance of understanding the difference between an information shared to us that's regarding Africa and also the information shared to us regarding USA, or let's say the Israel or China. How do they articulate those information compared to how they're articulating the information provided from Congo or from whatever conflict that's currently going on in DRC Congo? How are they articulating the information from there compared to how they're articulating the information that's happening in the Western societies? So we need to understand if the way they articulate this information, is it the same, or are some informations biased? Are they articulating in the way that they want to feel anger, they want to feel emotion out of you so that you can actually react? Or are they saying this out of concern because they can and want to advocate for their lives who are being lost? It's really important that we do understand that we just don't fall into a trap of letting other people tell us what to think when we have the capacity of thinking for ourselves. So I feel like I kind of went out of context with this podcast, but it kind of links back together of understanding that the conflict that's currently happening in DRC Congo, it's not about tribes. It's important to understand that. It's about the whole country in general. So if one tribe loses their people, that's a Congolese person dead. Whether you want to consider one person Congolese or not, it doesn't matter. That's a Congolese person dead. Whether you deem me a Congolese or not, it doesn't change the fact that I am Congolese. You won't change that, okay? So let's not look separated, let's not act separated, and actually let's all stand in solidarity and in unity and advocate for the peace, for the liberation, for the human rights lost, for the mistreatment, for the displaced people, so that all this can stop happening. Although I have a feeling it's going to be a long time, but we can only pray for the best, okay? So thanks for listening to my podcast, everybody. This is Life from Anne's perspective. This is my point of view. This is my opinion. You're also allowed to have your own opinion, and you're entitled to your own opinion. But I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have anything to add on to this, and if you feel like you want to criticize what I had said, or you want to bring more insight to what I just talked podcast, please feel free to leave a comment on this podcast, and it will be responded to. Thank you. I hope you all have a good one, and pray for Congo, and pray for the lives and for the loved ones who are losing their people left, right, center. That may God continue to strengthen those families, and also may God continue to chase those countries, other people or other countries out of Congo, so they can actually go and settle in their own homes or on home countries. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.